Welcome back to the Isaac Abrams Show, everybody. I am your host, Isaac Abrams. Today's very special guest, comedian, writer, podcaster, and philanthropist, Mr. Matty Chymbor.
Hey, philanthropist. Cheap investments, though.
That's right.
I find a bargain.
Tell us all about where we can find you on the internet.
I mean, wow. Anywhere where Instagram, Twitter, freaking, I just refund my GoDaddy, so not there.
So it's at Matty Chymbor.
At Matty Chymbor. The spelling's right here, or wherever he's going to put it. Chymbor.
Yep, I will put it right below your face.
People mess that up to the point where they're literally adding letters. I've had hosts bring me up as Chamborg, Chymbors. I go, you're not even reading properly. You're like, it's not even like you're taking the letters there and trying to pronounce it. You're just adding syllables and shit. And
yeah, that's why I had to change my last name.
What was your last name?
It used to be Heckert.
Heckert?
Yeah.
Isaac Heckert. A lot of hard consonants.
Yeah.
Isaac Heckert.
Yeah, it was very, very German in Hollywood. That
Your name has potholes in it.
Yeah, it does. It's
Heckert.
mouth stumbles in it. So Abrams is half my middle name. So my middle name's Abraham. So I just went with Isaac Abrams.
Are you Jewish?
No.
Wow.
I'm
Jewish.
I'm very Heckert.
You're Heckert.
Very German.
Really?
Yeah. Cut 2 generations off the
Polish,
boat.
so we're Eastern European whiteys.
There we go. Just a couple of Eastern Euros.
Are you a big meat and potato guy?
I like meat and potatoes. Not necessarily at the same time, but
like you're like a. I noticed my palate is very Polish side. I'm half Italian, half Polish.
Yeah.
My mom's sister are very Italian, pastas and all that shit. I'm like, dude, give me like sausage and like potatoes. Yeah. Cabbage. I like bland, ugly food.
Yeah, I cook bland, ugly food for myself, and I love it.
I fuck bland, ugly food.
I like to tell people that I'm half Mexican, half Italian, and half
fully horny,
and half Chinese.
There you go.
Those are the 3 things I eat all the time.
Oh, that's good.
That's 3 halves.
Those are the best foods by far.
Yeah, the foods you can get real fast when you're hungover. That's the best.
Chinese food is,
or Thai. I like Thai too.
Thai is above Chinese as far as the adventure levels go, but I will eat it.
You have your own podcast.
I do.
It's got a very difficult name to remember.
The Matty Chymbor Podcast.
There it is, right there. And that's available on all audio platforms and YouTube, correct?
YouTube, Spotify. Yeah, I think that's all of them.
Yeah.
I have SoundCloud, even though I don't think anyone goes on
I saw that.
It's the hub, though.
Yeah.
Like, you have to upload it to the hub, and then from there it goes to all the bullshit everyone fucks with.
Yeah. I use Buzzsprout for mine.
I was new. It was. Yeah. You want a fun fact about my podcast? I mean, I'm on episode 83. I'm about to film. I've been doing it literally for 7 years.
Oh,
so do the math of.
It's not every week.
No, yeah. I mean it is now because I finally, I can devote my time to it. But there'd be 6-month gaps. If you listen to the first episode till now, I am a different human being.
Oh, 100%.
Like I'm a boy that I started, and you can hear me. Like it's actually a journey in my life. Whether I didn't plan it, so if you guys want to watch, hear 23-year-old me or 35-year-old me, you can get whatever hour of my life.
Yeah, we did. I stopped after season 1 of this show when Pandy hit. I did a daily pop culture show, 428 episodes. If you start at the beginning, it looks like it was shot on someone's shoe. And then by the end, we had all these,
that's cool
6K
though.
cameras.
At least really, what was that? How much of a gap in time?
18 months, 400 episodes.
That's good.
Yeah.
You're not 7 years.
3 people watched it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, literally.
They're just proud of you. You should have had them as your guest.
Oh, it's just
4 people. You're like, you guys are? You know who you 4 are? You're the only listeners ever.
Yeah. This is our live studio audience.
That's hilarious.
We did well in audio, but we didn't do very well in video.
Video's tough, bro.
It's tough. There's 100 million hours of content being uploaded to YouTube every hour of the day.
And half of it's mukbang.
Yeah. Have you ever done a mukbang?
No, but I've jerked off to it.
Okay.
Just Chinese women stuffing their face with large shellfish.
Yeah.
It's always big shellfish.
I love a seafood tower.
I do too, but I'm a bite size. I'm not like these flaccid shaped lobster tails that there's downing.
The only mukbang I've ever seen is one that I filmed for a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, you did.
And we did the PG version, so I don't really know how the aggressive mukbangs go, but I can't picture it being sexual. I guess I'll have to watch one.
I mean, anything is if you're a pervert.
That's right. With the right attitude, you can make anything sexual.
Anything's sexual if you care more. No, Yeah, dude, I don't know. That's good though. It's good to see it evolve. I always have a rule for like podcasts where I'd say let quality follow consistency. That's my rule of thumb for myself. Because I'm like, if some people do, like some people's first episode is like this, and then they don't do it, and you're like, you got to earn that. You can't just like, you can't just start out. Maybe you can, and some people are just really good. I know myself personally where it's like, I have to prove to my brain that it's worth adding that extra thing every 2, 4, 5, 6 episodes.
Right.
And then you know, then it becomes a thing.
And technically, from the post side of it, it's all about making little shortcuts for yourself. Like if you make something that you like that you know you want to put in every episode, you make it as easy as possible to copy and paste
a template,
it into it.
Yeah. People don't do that.
People don't. I didn't do that either. I made it super hard on myself. But now that I'm banking 26 episodes right now because they're selling the studio, so I'm getting 6 months of shows.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've done. This is my 6th one this week.
How many are you trying to get?
How many am I?
You're trying to get 26, or you have 26?
No, this will be. I've done 6 this week. I have 5 more.
Oh, wow.
And then I've got 10 next week.
God bless you.
Well, we've had the building for 13 years and they're selling it
tomorrow. Do you feel like you're becoming better? I mean, I almost want to do a guest podcast so I can get better at talking to people. I feel like sometimes...
And I'm the opposite. I want to do a solo because I want to get better at like just talking for an hour.
The grass is always greener, folks.
Yeah. Because you hear Rogan every once in a while, he's bragging about like Tim Dillon and Bill Burr and Chris D'Elia just doing their like solo rant podcast. And it's just a gold mine for material. I mean, how many bits do you pull out of your podcast?
I'm also not. You're more diligent than me. I should go back and listen to them because the reason I started it was to, one, rep that side of my brain that gets on a topic and sits in it and writes and writes and writes, so AKA rants. So I was like, if I'm riffing, stay in the topic longer to essentially verbally mine the idea.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, it's not for them. It's for me to like really exhaust ideas well and then move on. But the problem with I had is, and I still have, trying to get better at, is I never go back and document what I did.
Yeah.
So the last episode that you listened to about the massage thing, that was actually probably one of the first ones where I actively wrote that. I wrote the idea down, did it on the podcast, and then I tried doing it on stage because I've noticed, and I'll fucking lift the veil, a lot of these podcasters, like Chris Stefano, 99%, a lot of his jokes, maybe not 99%, are things he does on his podcast.
Yeah.
And he does on his selfie mode on his social media where you're like, this guy's ranting in perfect joke structure. Then you go see him live and you go, that motherfucker's tricking people, which good for him.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh, take advantage. I mean, when we're busy, bro, it's like, you can't just like have each thing be standalone. They all have to overlap where the podcast helps this and this helps that and your podcast helps your social media. It's like, because
the only goal is selling tickets.
That's all I care about.
Well, I mean, brand deals are great. Brand deals are great.
Your money.
Yeah. But selling tickets and getting that fucking sold out door deal is the only reason that we're making all this content.
But also, I mean, to even remove the money aspect of that, but to keep the same goal, it's like, comedy's so hard and it's so hard to get booked. And I tell people, I'm like, I do these videos because I don't get booked ever in LA. I mean, I do, but I don't really compared to some of these other people. I'm literally creating a career for myself. Like if I get all these followers, there's a money aspect to it, but I'm giving myself an opportunity to do stand-up at the rate that I want to do it at so I can get better and to the next level.
Totally. And you're a one-man shop. Right, you make all your content yourself.
I edit, film, shoot. Right, I'm not. It's not that I don't want to do stuff with other people. It's when you're so busy. Like I'm not a guy where it's like every day at 11 to 12 I write. You're like, no, I'm literally like I'll wake up, drink coffee, and then like in the shit I slept in, film an idea. If you look at my early ideas, they're like, you have bedhead. I'm like, because I just woke up.
Because I have bedhead.
I literally woke up 15 minutes earlier. I'm dehydrated. I drank a coffee. I was so jacked up and I just filmed it. And I actually like that rule for myself where I'm like, some people who do content get all like, dolled up and I'm like, I don't give a fuck, bro. I get up. You do?
I was going to get a haircut this morning.
You pussy.
But my stylist was
I got
busy.
one yesterday. That's funny. So your hair is short. My hair was grow. I just got one yesterday. It looked disgusting. But yeah, I do everything myself. So it's tough to... It's fucking a lot of bullshit.
It is. But back to the, making those pre-planned clips, I think it's just smart, right? Because if one of them does go viral, people are going to want to hear it live. The days of like, burn it on your special and don't do your bits live anymore are fucking over. Like everybody wants to hear the machine when Bert Kreischer goes up.
Yeah, you're like, I get the creative side of comics. Like, oh, you got to hear all new stuff. It's like, guess what? Like you said, it's like no one cares anymore. And honestly, that clip on the internet is going to do more for your career. That clip on the internet will get you the chance to see these people live rather than you hoarding it. And even now I'm noticing, like, there was a big phase in crowd work stand-up clips that were really popping off. And I'm seeing a shift based on my research of people's whose videos are doing well now. It's material now. It's like it's going away from the crowd work thing. Now it's back to material. So it's like you better be a good writer as far as like one or be strategic. It's like put out just a little bit of the joke. So when they see you, they're seeing another 30% of it they never saw.
Yeah.
So you're still zigzagging them. And
yeah.
But honestly, I don't think people give a shit. We're comics. We are psychos where you're like, if you aired it once, it's done forever. You're like, who gives a fuck?
It's so emo.
Jerry Seinfeld's like, I'll do a joke to your face 9 times in one set.
And you'll buy tickets at double the price every single time.
I'll charge you more.
I think the person that it matters to is not your fan. It's the fan that doesn't want to go alone and shows their friend your clip and goes, you got to come see Matty. Check out this funny clip, right? And then the person who doesn't know you is just sitting there, and then you fucking do that bit, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw that shit on the internet."
Exactly. It's a familiarity thing where
100%.
It's like watching the encore joke or encore song.
Yeah.
In the middle and beginning and all over the set.
the whole set is encore songs. It's just Journey, Don't Stop Believing from front to back.
Yeah, I don't care anymore. If anything, I'm trying to bring back old jokes that I used to do.
Do you have a joke? I've been waiting to ask this question. I've much like comedy, I've been trying to work out how I want to ask this, so I'm just going to spit it out. But do you have a joke that you fucking love that just hasn't landed yet? Like, you think it's fucking hilarious, and you don't have to burn the bit, but like, it makes you chuckle every time you think about it, and then it just doesn't connect?
Yeah, what is that joke? It's probably all of them. What joke is it? There's always little lines and jokes where I'm like, that didn't work.
Right. Like, fucking knew. You're positive that it's going to get a pop.
I've had it a few times. Like one, for example, where I said, when I was single, but I go, you ever see a girl on Instagram? She's so hot, you get pissed off. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's like, I remember I was like, that's funny. You're like, Jesus, this isn't even okay. Like, and that one always kind of eats shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? All right.
It's fun when that happens in reverse. Like you say a line and you're waiting to drop a punchline and people start laughing and you're like, that's not, hold on.
That's good, but it kind of scares me because it makes me go, do I not know what's funny? Right. Is my writing career just being a psycho and rambling and listening for the laughs because I don't know where they're going to come? I'm trying to, since I quit my job, I've been doing stand-up for November will be 12 years.
That's what it says here.
Yep. But I'm not going to lie, for the first couple years I wrote a lot because you're all excited and you're like, everything's funny, I'm going to be great. And then you realize what's funny, so your writing dies down and ideas aren't coming. And I was working full time, but long story short, I basically didn't write for fucking 12 years. Now that I quit, I'm trying to like go back to like the beginning and like I want to know what funny looks like on paper for me. Yeah. And I generally don't. And lately I've been just writing down the jokes that work and like I look at them and I'm like, I sound crazy, but I'm like, I don't even know why that's funny. I've done it so many times where underneath like the words and like to go to the bones of it, it's like me looking at a building being like, I don't even know how that's being held up, which is like,
it looks like it should fall down.
You're like, really? To me, that looks like a flimsy building, and the fact that it's been standing. It's like a joke's a building and shows are like hurricanes and the good ones stand up and the bad ones get swept away. I'm like, I don't know why that's still standing up, but it is. But I'm trying to go back and like relearn writing so I don't have those moments of like, oh, that was funnier than I thought. And then I'm like, am I a professional comic or am I a fucking idiot?
Yeah. How much of your comedic voice are you worried about writing in? Like, we'll use Seinfeld as an example because his name came up earlier, but like Seinfeld can be like, what's the deal with everybody knows his,
right?
That's Jerry, right? He gets the initial 5 minutes because he's Jerry, and then he gets the rest of it because he's actually writing funny stuff in his voice,
right?
So like there's some people that can just go, I don't know what else, man, and like that's funny
because they're such a character.
Because that's their comedic voice, right? That's the journey that I've been on for a long time. Is like I write and I write and I write and I'm like, none of this is funny because I don't know who's saying it yet. I don't know who my comedic character is.
Right.
And if I find the right comedic voice,
I don't know what mine is either, though. People say people, like, I guess, and maybe I've always thought it was going to be a more elaborate, elegant sentence of, like, explaining my comedic voice. But I think the one that I think what it is for me, and now that I think about it, it's funny because it's how I brace people for my stand-up. I tell them, I'm like your friend at the bar, and you guys are just talking about your day after a couple drinks. Meaning, like, some of it's fucking edgy, some of it's not. It's none of it's coming from a place. Yeah, there's shit talking involved, there's swearing, but it's like I'm just your friend, and we're out at a bar saying shit.
Yeah,
in public, like I thought it would be more, like, really. To go back to that, it's still very open-ended for me, so it's not specific. Like, I don't have a voice where I always call like my best way to wrap my head around like what a comedic voice is. It's like when there was hashtags on Twitter. You know what, like hashtag blah. What she says. Like, you always know how the joke's gonna end because of the hashtag.
Right. She's a 10,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know my hashtag.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm
trying to figure it out.
Me either.
Yeah, I mean, you when you first start, you emulate everybody. And I've already emulated everybody.
Right.
And none of that felt right. And then it was like, I want to go high energy. I want to go Dane Cook. That was the last person I tried to do. And then it was like, do you want to pour out that much energy every time you go on stage for the rest of your life? And then I was like, went the polar opposite. I was like, I'm going to study low energy comics like Ian Edwards and Mitch Hedberg and just stand there. And that doesn't work. So there's like somewhere.
You're this guy, though. Just be this.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is I'm trying.
You're a normal person.
I'm trying to be this person on the podcast on stage.
I don't buy. I mean, any one of those people though, like, it's funny because you're like, do I be this on stage, that on stage? I think the key word, it's like I just said, it's be yourself. Because I mean, if you talk to Ian Edwards in person, he's the same person off stage. Dane Cook seems like he's relatively the same person off stage. I mean, maybe I'm not getting a little wild here, but it's like I know when to ramp up my act outs, but it's because how I'm acting it out, how I would to even if we were off stage. You know, I think just be this fucking guy.
I'm gonna try that next time I go up.
You'll know when to ramp it up and when to be quiet. And what, it's like the more you overthink that, I guess the same way with the way I'm overthinking words. You're like, stop fucking worrying about but it's like,
I just wanted every bit to have like amazing word economy, no words wasted. Just
that's
like,
good though. That's good. That's a good.
Yeah, and then I have these stories. I've said this a million times. I'm sabotaging myself, but I have these like really great stories. I have to find myself saying the end a lot because people are like waiting for this big finale, and I've do like 2 to 3 minutes.
Trails off kind of
2 to 3 minute bits for one punchline. That's just like, oh, okay. What's the rest of the story?
I have that though. I think some comics have like some comics write in a way where. How do you write your jokes? Let me step back. Do you write them out, or are you very verbally?
I write them out. Usually, if I'm like out socially and I say something funny, I'll make a note in my phone. Then I'll take it home and I'll write it out. And that is usually so much word vomit that it should just be like an audio or a sketch.
Right.
Because it's written like a script. I can't help it.
That's normal though, but that's the mining process.
Yeah.
And then in there you go find the funny, and then you kind of, so like a lot of that is fat. But like I've noticed for me, it's like a lot of my ideas. Let me step back. There's two people. There's people who jokes I think just kind of end.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a big laugh, or it's like the tags kind of getting a good like da 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 da, like a good like roll of laugh, and then you let it die down and it's over.
Yeah.
And then there's other comics, like I used to open for Drew Lynch. He's a very wordsmithy guy. Like he writes this like, you can tell his jokes have a in conclusion portion.
Yeah.
Which just I always called it. He has a button on every joke.
Like a third act.
A beginning, middle, and end of this bit, and he always. The clever way he writes the concluding bit involves like people like are applauding. They can hear the ending and see the ending because it made sense for that whatever that joke was. And I was very envious of that because I was like, I want fucking applaud break things. So I was like, I don't write applaud break material,
right?
Because you'd want everybody to do that, but it's like I notice mine. I get more a rise when the joke has, like I said, like set up, punch, tag, punch, tag, like you're almost tagging it, and it's like the laughter's and like it just keeps getting them sillier and sillier, and then it's just done. Yeah. But I never get people applauding after the laugh because I just hear them laughing hard.
Well, do you write pause for applause when you're writing it? Because that's what makes them actually stop and applause. You have to write it in.
No, I disagree. I mean, that was a joke that I clearly... That's not actually accurate. Fucking dumbass. I hate when I get caught. I'm like...
You didn't get caught. I didn't say it funny.
No, I took you seriously.
I'm a very serious podcast.
Yeah. That's like writing in laugh. Do you write laughter? And I'm like, I never write audience laugh in my joke.
We figured it out. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, hey,
solve the mystery.
Secrets of comedy writing. No, I'm trying to just, but I guess now, they always say play to your strengths, but I'm like, okay, but I'd like to build up my lack of writing.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, I'm such an energy. I have to, and this big breakthrough for me, I'm actually pretty happy about it. It's highlighted how much work I have to do, but a lot of my jokes, because I write them ranting and riffing on stage, when I write it, whatever I said got the audience on board with that topic organically, meaning there wasn't much like underlying joke structure to it. So like I have a joke about farting. However the fuck I wrote that, they were on board with farting based on like a riff or something. Maybe it wasn't the most joke structure heavy intro, but I got them in there and I developed a good chunk of it because that was the common knowledge in the room, and I was riffing and ranting and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I've noticed a lot of my material, I get them into the bit by selling it like emotionally with energy. Mm-hmm. And when I get them in, it's good. But when I have a hard time getting them into it, the rest of the joke suffers.
Yeah.
So what I need now is to go back, have a good 3 or 4 misdirections to get them on the topic. Then I have them in the kind of the energy portion of the material. There's still joke structure in there.
Yeah.
But sometimes getting them to that, it's like a hill. Like I can't push them. It's like, and then I don't get them into the bit. So I'm trying to go back and fix all my writing now. So I'm not like, I hope I get them going get them on board with this. And then because then it's smooth sailing for whatever, a minute or two.
Yeah.
But it's the beginning of the jokes I struggle with.
When you get a joke that's doing really well, do you go back and see the joke order of your other bits before? Like, this bit always does better when this bit is in front of it. Like in your overall set, like in your track list.
It's tough because I have shows where if I put the dirty shit early, it sucks.
Yeah.
And then I have shows where I put the dirty shit it's not even that. It's just like, I am a person, I go on stage and I say a couple random riffs about the audience to just break the fourth wall and be like, he's not just like the guy who's like, hey, I'm from Connecticut. Like, I'll go in the room and I'm just like, just say a couple riffs to get him on board. And sometimes that organically bleeds into like one of my quote unquote edgier, even though I just talk about vibrators or girls masturbating or some shit. Mm-hmm. And I've had shows where that in the opening joke eats up 10 minutes and it fucking does great. And then I've had shows where I try to like jam that first and it does bad.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why I have trouble writing set lists, because it's always different.
It is.
If anything, I'm trying to go back and see, like, I do a joke about witches, which bleeds well into the joke about role playing, which bleeds well into this joke. So I have a chunk of 4. Mm-hmm. So it's not like this does better than this. I just trying to find like what chunks to do. So once I do this joke, I know I have bang.
Yeah.
But the chunk order might be always different because of whatever the audience is. Like sometimes you got to get on their side. With Drew, my dirtier stuff would do better at the end because I would do my cleaner Connecticut single mom stuff up top.
Yeah.
And then you build their trust. And then when you start saying like fucking bitch, like they're not kind of like cementing your persona in the first 5 minutes.
Right.
Otherwise they'd be like, this guy's dirty. And then I try to do clean construction material and they're like, like, hold on.
You're supposed to be dirty. Yeah. Psychological warfare up there. Do you know Anthony Davis?
The big dude, the
big redhead? Yeah. So he was on a couple weeks ago. He was telling me that in the tag or the punchline of his first joke, it's clean, kind of dirty, and filthy. He does 3 tags, and just based off the reaction, he can go clean set.
That's a good way to do
mediums. Yeah, but that's also like, he's written 45 minutes to do 15 minutes just to have a backup parachute.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's very that's
it sounds smart, but is it actionable? Like, can you do that every time?
That's weighing a lot on their reaction.
Right, their first
You know what
reaction.
I'm saying? Like, you're like, and my critique on that, it's like, so you have the first punchline. What are they doing that would lend you to think like, I'm going dirty? Like, are they doing like what are they doing that makes you think like to go the dirty route versus the clean? I would just rather go clean. I mean, I'm always envious. I'm like, I want to write not clean, like fucking squeaky clean, but like, I have a bad habit like any fucking dude, and this is my dude bar, comedic voice thing where I'm like, I just think my brain always wants to go to like dick jokes, shit, fuck, piss ass balls. Like, and it's annoying because if you hear those words, you're like, this is a dirty joke. But like, I actually think like, if you actually hear my joke though, it's pretty clever. Mm-hmm. But I envy people who can be clean. I'm like, dude, if you can do the clean stuff, just go. You can get more shit. You're not pissing people off. Like, I've done shows where people like laugh and like at all my dirty like stuff, dirtier stuff, and whatever you want to call it. And then after the show, they almost like avoid me. Like, it was some guilty pleasure. Like, I don't want to be. It's like after you fuck the hooker, you're like, I don't want to be around you. Like,
just take the money and leave.
Exactly. Where I'm like, I'd rather try to like go back, understand, like, and I think it's impressive to like. Kind of, but I think I do think it's like it's easier to be dirtier because there's more shock in it, rather than taking something that's mundane and not funny and making it funny. I think as a comedian, I'm like, I want to be good at making like a story about freaking going to the grocery store funny versus like needing a topic that's already has humor built in it.
Right. Like dicks and farts are funny.
They're funny already, and then you're just making it funnier. It's like you're getting it. You have like lifts on.
100%.
I want to get good at finding the funny in going to the freaking Home Depot.
Exactly.
I mean, like,
and you can make clean dirty, right?
That's easy.
If you write everything clean,
right?
Then you can add dirty to anything.
You say ball sack and shit.
Yeah. My first year, I was like, well. Clean comics get the best opportunities. They're on late night. They're getting writing jobs. They're doing all this shit. They get to work on kids shows.
Yeah.
I'm going to be clean. And then I realized how fucking hard it is.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
One time remember Comedy Time at Ice House a long time ago?
I have never been to the Ice House.
Really?
Not one time.
I didn't do it a lot. I did it a handful of times, but their YouTube page was probably one of the first things to go viral with like I don't even know if it was affiliated with the Ice House. It was always there, though, and it was called Comedy Time, and they had a YouTube page, and it would get a lot of views. Angela Johnson, the woman who got big for that nail salon bit, that clip is from Comedy Time.
Wow.
And I remember before I did that, they can't be dirty, and I remember actively saying to myself, I'm writing clean for, like, months. And I actually like started to gain ground of like but clean stuff though, you see rooms where it works and rooms where it just eats shit.
Yeah.
I feel like dirty stuff actually has a little more consistency. Maybe I just didn't get far enough into writing the clean stuff, but I remember having to actively say like, no, I'm doing clean stuff. Like, every now and then you have a joke or you say vagina or whatever, but I'm like, for the most part, you say vagina, that's dirty.
Dirty vagina.
And every day I'm like trying to get back to that. I think I'm slowly in, but then I'm a very devil's advocate person where I'm like, also fuck that. Do what's funny to you. Like, enjoy your shit, but you always want to get better.
You want to stay true to yourself as an artist.
Right.
And then you want to make the content that is going to be most widely received that's in your voice.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I mean, at the end of the day, Chris Rock said something, I think I might butcher this quote a little bit, but he's talking about Mike Epps, where he's like, I think Mike Epps is funnier than me, but I made better business decisions, meaning like what topics they talked about.
Yeah.
Like, I think Mike Epps is more, what he meant was, and I could be wrong, but like how I gathered it is like, I could talk dirty, but I'm purposely doing cleaner stuff or whatever material he felt was more marketable at the time.
Right.
For his career.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he wasn't like, fuck that, I'm doing this, that. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I need to have those moments where it's like, okay, you could do the dick stuff. You're at to the point where you can like rant a new dick joke. why don't you get good at like mining and finding humor in the nuances of whatever the hell else, a massage, even that's already
that's why I really like Jeremiah Watkins' stand up on the spot.
Oh yeah.
Or any of those like unprepared, they just give you a topic and then it's just riff time.
Yep.
I love that shit. And I love, and then Mike Falzone's got that surrounded crowd work.
That.
Yeah,
that's great. It's good though. It's definitely good muscle to.
Yeah, I think that kind of stuff is like the live version of like mining your podcast for
100%. And you get to see people's reaction. Isn't it crazy? People's reaction determines if you keep it or not. You're like, why can't we just find a thing where I can just run it by people? No, speaking of that, I've honestly thought about this, and I've told my girlfriend a bunch where I was like, I have all these followers. Why am I not doing like scheduled live open mics with myself and the followers where I'm like,
super chats,
bro,
dude.
Isn't it insane? I literally right now can schedule every week a Zoom or whatever fucking virtual thing where I can hear them. I can do my own live open mics, 2 people via Zoom twice a week if I wanted,
and get paid for it.
Get feedback, get paid for it, and be further along than doing any of this. I don't know why. I really should do it. The problem is now these people might come and now they really know your material. So that might be, but honestly, like to get shit to then go to the live shows with, or get it to a point where you're like, okay, you're not going to see this anymore.
Yeah.
Then you develop it at shows, but I'm like, that's something I really need to do because that would save you so much heartache and whatnot with doing shit for the first time at live shows and stuff. But
there's 2 thoughts I had about that. One, how many people do you need to get the feedback, right?
Bro, I literally need 10.
Right? So make it a contest.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing 1-on-10s with like the first 10 people to fucking comment.
You get 20 minutes of new material that I'm working on.
Yeah, or you go, I'm only doing this for people in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And then if you do the cities, then you're developing your market.
Oh, then I'm finding out where people live.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
So you can
that's a hard thing to find out where half these fucking people live.
Well, your YouTube channel has all that information.
I'm not on Instagram. It only gives you like the top 5 cities. You're like, give me every city.
Right.
Give me every city with the amount of people.
Yeah.
Because like I was gonna book a one-nighter at Spokane, and they go, it's this much versus 50% of the door if you get over $1,000, which basically it worked out where I had to sell. If I sell over 50 tickets, I get half the door.
Great.
But I'm like, I don't know how many. I did a Facebook post, and it's only Facebook. I have like 42,000 people on there. But I was like, who lives in Spokane? And like I had like 30 people say yes, which is a good, because then I'm like, between Instagram and whatever, I probably have more. But it's still scary because you're like, it's like, dude, I either make, it was like $200 or 50% of the door over X amount. And I'm like, that's a big difference.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable in Spokane. Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
It's fucking the middle of nowhere. I love that city. I've been there like 4 or 5 times to do stand up.
You're building the market.
But it's like, Jesus Christ, like I want to go there, but the room seat's fucking 400, and they're gonna like say either make 200 or $1,000. You're like, bro, come on.
Well,
like,
1,000 means I can cover my flight, and 200 means is I'm losing money to go up there.
The beauty is though, actually, I looked at flights today. They're very cheap, but it's still the same idea. Like, regardless of Spokane, like these other markets where you're like, hey, Instagram, I need to know where people are. Like, I know right now though, Chicago's one of my top cities,
okay, yeah.
Which I'll fucking go there and do great, and I'll be happy about it. And same with like, I'm putting out my ticket link for Boston today. I went to school there. I know I have a bunch of people there. So it's like, there's the markets you're confident in, but then when you're like, you get to these like little rural areas, you're like, man, you guys are really give me a high number to fucking in a city that has fucking nobody. But
yeah, that's the whole business side, right? So it's like the club owners got to make it worth it for them.
I get it.
Yeah,
and I'm not mad about that, but you're like, but then you're also like, fuck, bro, give me a better guarantee, like $200 to headline. I get it though. They're like, you're a no name, but
maybe only in Spokane. You know what I mean? I have this idea in my head where I want to pick 6 markets and I want to go to them twice a year.
If I had to pick 6, I would do Austin, Dallas, Chicago, Boston, and New York, and maybe
Miami.
No, Florida probably not shit.
Nashville, Charlotte.
I said Boston, New York, Chicago, Austin, Dallas, San Diego. Maybe I did okay down there when I did the Laugh Factory, but I'm like, I don't know.
I like Vegas.
I don't think fuck Vegas.
Vegas is great for me because no one is from Vegas that's coming to see you, and they're going to take you home with them.
What do you? So like you're like all these. It's like doing a cruise ship.
Yeah. So like
it's a cruise ship of land.
And it's not really about selling tickets. It's like, do you want to go to a comedy show tonight? And a lot of times they're getting comped out from the casino.
Right.
And then these people just take you home and like still listen to your shit.
Have you done a show in Vegas?
Yeah.
They're very weird though.
They are weird.
They're like, I always say it's like a couple in a suit and dress and sitting next to a couple in sweats with yardstick drinks. And you just repeat that for fucking hundreds of people. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's good though. It's a good workout. You know, that's like casinos.
Yeah.
Like just doing any casino in general. You're like, who the fuck?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you guys won this ticket on a slot machine.
Yeah. Or you come here every day and the casino wanted to give you tickets to make sure that you're, yeah.
Yeah.
And half of them are pissed off because they lost all their money. There's one guy in the room that's up, and he's just having a great fucking time.
Or it's just literally, I mean, me and Abby did Palm Springs, and it was just like old people, which is that was a good exercise of bringing back a lot of my family jokes and bits I haven't done in a while that were like, oh, thank God I had these because I got them on my side pretty good. Because like then you're like, oh damn, but do I really have like a very LA set? You know, that was one thing I learned before I went with Drew a long time ago. I was like, damn, I got a good 15, 20 minutes, and it always works in LA, but my brain didn't think to ping that comment of only in LA, and then I go to New York and Ohio with him, and I'm just eating shit.
Oh yeah,
because I'm just like, oh, you're doing open relationship material to Ohio. Nothing against them, but they don't.
No, they got married in college.
They don't give a shit.
They don't have a side chick. They don't know what like ethically non-monogamous even means.
I would be like, do you guys know what an open relationship is? They're like, no. And then I'm doing a joke explaining what it is to do it, and I'm like, what are you doing? But
Ohio might as well be another like world. Like the flyover states between here and New York, it's just they're good Topeka people, man. They get up and they go to work, they come home, they watch TV. And
it is a very different world, but you can see though why road comics get hacky because. You can see why LA comics are too niche, and you can see why road comics are hacky. Mark Maron had a good thing where he goes, you can crush on the road, or you can stick to your guns as an artist. And I think that you want to be the happy medium where you go there and they're like, dude, like, I mean, I'm sorry. We've done enough shows on the road where it's like, you see the local guy who's like the big headliner, and you're like, bro, you're like, what are you saying? Mm-hmm. Like, nothing against like, if you just want to have fun doing this, but it's like, you're doing the hackiest of hack material. And I'm sorry, you see that a lot in fucking Long Beach at the Laugh Factory with LA comics where I'm like, what are you doing? We've heard this bit a million times. You've took edibles poorly. Mm-hmm. We're done with that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, then you see how well they do sometimes and you're like, fucking mother shit. Like,
wish I didn't have so much integrity.
It's choosing your material is very interesting, but it's good to have a lot of everything. So then you can go, all right, LA, I'll do some fucking witchcraft bullshit, and then you go to Ohio, you're like, I got a stepdad, and then they're like, yeah.
But I think about this all the time when we're in a different town and we have a local opener that does really well. I'm like, how? If you're this funny, I mean, they're only getting 5 or 10, but like,
right?
It's of course it's different at a theater than it is a club, but like when we're at a club. If they have their biggest local headliner do the local open, it's like, what are you doing here? Like, you already figured it out for this town. Like, you need to go to LA or New York.
What I've realized with those people is they probably just don't give a shit. I mean, not everybody has like the aspirations to be like
a working
comic. I mean, and I've learned that with like forever. I've had this realization. Just like when I moved to LA and other friends who've left our hometown, they'd always go back and shit on the people who stayed. Like, you never fucking leave. What are you doing here? And then one day I go, why are you being rude? I go, not everybody wants to leave. So then I see young comics or just comics in general who are like, you always have that critique like, man, they're here just because it's a social life for them, or they don't care. It's like, Yeah, but maybe they just like doing this as a hobby. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like that's like me going to like a basketball court and being like, none of you are going pro. What the fuck you doing here? And then I'm like, why would I be that asshole?
Right.
So I see those guys, and he's like, he has a family. He probably works, and he gets to go up at the local club and crush. You're like, yeah, good for you, bro. I mean, I wish I fucking didn't care about this as much as I do sometimes. But.
Yeah, and I guess the dream is still alive. It's just I look at it from like I really want that person to succeed and do well.
Right. We have that other side of it where you're like, we see where they should go.
Yeah. And
our brain's like, what do you do? You're done here. Go.
Yeah.
But
because we see so many people week in, week out here in LA that are like doing their very best, but it's probably not going to net out for this. Like a lot of people.
Very sad to think.
It is. But there is also, I think, a rising tide moves all ships, right? So the more, there's plenty for everybody. But like not everybody that goes up to an open mic one time can go sell out an arena. It's just, you got to put in the work.
I think a lot of people just got to find what niche works, like whatever avenue works for them, which I agree. It's like, but we all sometimes in LA, we adopt the same goal. That's why it gets so competitive at times.
Yeah.
But to have that mentality of the ships rising and shit, like, but it's like a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes I get caught up where, I mean, I'm human. I see other people popping off on social media and I'm like, what the fuck? Fuck. And I'm like, then I have to be like, I'm trying to get good at, catching myself when I get angry and being like, what do you give a fuck? Yeah. How about this? Worry about your own.
Exactly.
Do your own shit. But it's very easy out here to like, we all start to like kind of like cultishly wander on the same path like we're fucking zombies.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, go do another thing. Like,
well, we all end up at the same shows.
I know, and we're fighting for the same shows.
Yeah.
Even though that's not even a good term because like blame the booker, don't blame fucking the other comics.
100%.
Good for him to get stuff, but it's very hard to not,
Everything is hard. Everything in this comedy business is hard. And if it was easy, everybody would do it. There's a lot of crazy people in this town that try to do it that have no business doing it. But, the cream rises to the top, and how many other catchphases I can come up with.
Cream rises to the top, and the boats shift, and the tides sail. And
a high moon guides us to the North Star.
Yeah, dude. I get it.
Yeah, it is a tough mental reset to go from like, fuck that dude, I want what he has, to good for him, man. I can't wait till I get there.
Oh, it's a big 180.
It's so hard.
And but also, I go, how about this? Don't do either and just worry about yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, because I'm like, I'm wasting time watching this person do this, that, and the other, whether I'm happy or sad. I go, you can be doing a video right now. You could be writing right now. I go, just you on your, like lately, like I've been very aware of like my phone. The second I look at my phone, whether I think it's for like, hey, I want to see what other videos people are doing. Not that I like I do trends or anything, but I'm like, let me see like what's popping off, like what's not. The second I look at my phone, my creative side shuts off.
Yeah.
And now you think you're like, oh, I'm looking at what reels are popping off so I can maybe have a night. No, you're literally just becoming a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't be creative. So it's like, even that, I'm like, whether you're looking at people's careers or watching anything, I'm like, just get off your phone.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I can literally, I mean, it's so hard to not, but I need to get good about just not even looking at the fucking thing.
I do that with comedy. Like, I tell myself I'm studying comedy by watching every fucking special that comes out.
Right.
And then I'm like, I'm going to write right after this. Well, I'm judging the premise I just came up with against someone who's been working it out on the road for 2 years.
100%.
And it's like, I'm never going to be that funny. It's like, no, you're never going to put in the 2 years it takes to make that joke that funny if you sit around watching TV all the fucking time.
That happens a lot when you're at an open mic and you're working on this new bit that you're not sure about. And then somebody goes up and they fucking just do great. And you're like, this is my new joke and that's their new joke. And then you go home and YouTube them and you realize that joke that they did at the open mic is a 5-year-old bit that they've done a million times.
Yeah.
And you're like, dah.
And they like the feeling of they have that 3 minutes and that 3 minutes kills in front of the same 20 people every week. And that's how they want to be.
But even more so, it's a good lesson for you, kind of like you watching that thing. You're like, don't compare your shit to theirs because you don't know how much time they put into that versus how much time you put into this.
Yeah. Specials make it look effortless.
Well, not to mention you got to think of specials in front of their crowd. They just work that bit out on their audience over the course of a year or two. I mean, going with Drew, it's like, I think he's funny. But like when you see somebody like craft an hour to the people that love him the most, like you're just concentrating this laughter where you're like, I mean, bro, they'd be like, ah! like freaking the fuck out. And I'm like, so you're watching, that's the special. You're not just watching a guy do a set in front of a room full of like randos, like it's the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
You're watching him do it in front of his supporters. So now you're taking yourself out of any running of feeling confident about your material. I don't watch any material or any specials anymore. I mean, I'm trying to do a thing lately, and I've done it before, where I print out the special and I read it.
Oh, wow.
Because then I'm trying to go back, like it's my training of like writing, where I want to read the special. You can go online and just get transcript Louis C.K. special.
Yeah.
And then you read it and you start to see how his jokes are actually crafted together. Because verbally, sometimes you don't register things until he's starting to be funny. Like it's a good example where it's like he starts doing a joke like, I'm an empty nester, and then he's talking about something. The whole bit is about a completely different premise. So what I'm trying to do now is just get used of like reading funny. So when I look at my material, I can start to like be like, oh, I see why this is fucked up and blah blah blah. And actually, this girl I know, she gave me a good point, because she's like a good writer. I'm like, you're lucky you like writing. I'm like, I just don't see I can't see it on paper. And she's like, you have to read a lot to be a good writer, because you start to like certain writer styles. Yeah. The way you like like for me, like I like certain or TV show styles. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So that's why I was like, let me start reading specials of some of my favorite comics, see how his setup's shorter, he milks this. Oh, I see what he did there. Because then when I read my shit on paper, I'm just like, I don't fucking know. But now I'd like to go into it more analytical. Like, again, I'm not like doing it to like take Louis' structure, but it's like I need to like start to critique my stuff knowledgeably, using these other people as like a precedent, where it's not like any other creative profession though does that. Like I went to school for architecture. Before we did a project, we studied other architects to see what they did, what they didn't do, and maybe there's a little more like architecture and cooking where they actually like take the fucking thing. But I want to do it where I'm like, oh, I want to see, oh, I like how he did that, or oh fuck, he does that, or so.
Louis' Monopoly bit with his kid. She's 6. They're playing Monopoly.
I think
they broke it down in one of the how to write comedy books that I read.
Oh, really?
I read like 12 books, and the setup was like 2 lines, and it had 18 tags.
It's crazy.
And it was in the chapter on like how to get an audience rolling.
Right.
And it was just bam, 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 and a
lot of people don't tag their shit ever. I tell everybody. I'm like, that's one of my biggest things to like tell new. I actually heard Tony Hinchcliffe say it. But I was already like aware of the idea, but to hear him like verbalize it, I go, oh, that makes sense. When people don't tag their jokes, I tell them, I'm like, you got them with the punchline and you just stopped. Yeah. What the fuck are you doing? It's like literally breaking into a bank vault and not taking the money. You did the hardest part. Take the fucking money now. You can do it in the easiest way. Like literally a tag can be not even funny, but if it's just remotely similar to your punchline, you're going to get them to laugh that's when you get those jokes where you're like, they laughed for 1 minute straight or 2, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then from there, once you get that idea, you start to realize how you can mold your tags into a whole nother bit. So it really doesn't stop. And then you start to like, oh, that's how you really kind of get those, like, you're like, man, that guy crushed for 20 minutes. Like, yeah, but if you can see what he did, he tagged shit, he moved, his tag bled into, inadvertently became the setup for this next joke, which it's like, that's where you start to get meticulous. But I'm like, start with tagging. Totally. If you're not going to tag, you're not going to ever crush. Yeah. So,
and that helps too, because like when you first start trying to segue and string your jokes together, then it's like it's so hacky. It's like, well, segueing, speaking of cars, it's like,
yeah. Well, know what I started to try to do? I've completely rewrote my headline-y set, or whatever fucking, I don't even call it a headline set, but my set list, where when I used to have jokes, they were just random. And I talked to this guy, James P. Connolly, when I was doing Flappers Claremont. I go, how do you remember an hour? He goes, I make chunks. Here's the chunk about this. And now you're remembering 5 chunks versus 40 jokes. Right. So then you remember the whole bit. which was good. And I remember the first time I did an hour, I had Connecticut jokes or jokes about home, jokes about ex-girlfriend, jokes about being single. And I still felt like there was some monotony even in like the thing. Maybe to the outside looking in, they couldn't tell, but I felt the crowd where it was very like, well, I'm single here. And this is all supposed to be single. So, and now I'm trying this thing and it's still in beta, but I'm trying to lump jokes together based on premise, not like geography or category.
Okay.
So like, rather than doing a joke about like I do my Connecticut joke, but the premise is like, I do one, it's like I grew up in the gay area of New York City called Connecticut, and then I joke about like money, Connecticut, how people think it's rich. Now I took another joke about me trying to save money and put it after that.
Smart.
Versus that, it was like a joke about bringing my ex to Lion King, but normally that would be in my ex-girlfriend chunk, but I'm like, why don't I, while I have them on the topic of money and saving and penny pinching, it sets up that joke better, like, it sets that joke up because I'm already on the topic of being cheap and saving money, or they think we're rich, we're not rich, and then I go into an example of it with that joke. So, and then like another joke where I talk about girls from Boston with like aggressive accents, and then I do a joke about role playing and girls like wrestling. So I'll go, okay, a girl with a manly accent, aggressive girls, and now I'm making this scene around this aggressive girlfriend,
right? Rather
than it being jokes about Connecticut, here's Boston because geography, and then jokes about ex-girlfriends because ex-girlfriend. It's like they're two. I should lump the premises together,
right?
And now you're on this. They're mentally, subconsciously on board with everything.
That's what I was kind of driving at about like if you get a new pop in a set, like if you add a new joke to a set, like are you checking out like where to put it in your lineup? And you're actively like grouping.
Like shit. A new joke.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always like, I'm not opposed to writing a new chunk, but I always am actively like, can this fit there? If I reword it, does it fit better here?
Yeah.
Because like that's when you start to, I have my hour set loosely written out, and we're always actively writing new stuff. So you're like, okay, can I take out a shittier joke in one of these to put the new one in? That's because your jokes too, I look at it like, when you start comedy and you do your first 20 minutes, that 20 minutes is a timeline of you starting comedy to right now. And some of those jokes are newer and some of them are older. So you're watching aside from like them just hearing the jokes, you're hearing the fucking timeline of a better comic joke structure, a new comic joke structure, So I'd rather swap out, maybe you can rewrite the old jokes, but I'm like, if I have a newer joke that's written in August of 2022 with my new expertise of writing jokes, blah, 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 I feel like that will get me the laugh quantity that I think that, this chunk needs.
Yeah.
Versus an old joke where it's a little more, consistent, but it's just like an old, like long setup, one punchline, shitty tag, done.
Right.
I'd rather a fucking short setup, punchline, tag, and then, So I try to like think about that's why I prioritize new over old sometimes, but I should be good about going back and rewriting old the way I talked about earlier, where a lot of them were energy or they're just bad joke structure where it's a long setup.
Or you grow tired of telling it, right? Or maybe it's time to film that one, clip it, and throw it on the Instagram, and like retire it, like, or just pull it out.
We don't retire shit, baby.
No, we recycle around here.
We keep. I want people to come to my shows and recite my jokes.
Like a band, they're just like singing along. I find myself doing that when I'm touring with some of these guys. It's like as I'm working through the show and filming them do it, it's like I
can't do it. I feel bad because I'd go with Drew and I'd be like, he'd be like, do you watch my set? I go, I've come with you for 4 or 5 years. I don't watch your set. I'm eating chicken fingers in the back, drinking a beer.
Yeah.
You're like, I hear them. I hear you doing, and even not consciously watching it, I knew where he was in his set. Like, I would help sell his merch. I'm like, okay, you're here. I'm going to go set up the merch. I hear that fucking last joke. It's like, it's just grilled in your head. I'm like, I can't fucking watch this shit anymore. That's why comics are like that, because you're like, if I feel like this, I don't need people who are paying money to come see me feel like they just got, because some people are like, oh, you did the same bit. You're like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, yeah, I did. You saw me a month ago. Why would I'm just like making all this shit up?
It's like when a band does a new album cycle tour. They're going to play some hits. They're going to play the new shit in the middle. Yeah. They're going to play their greatest hits at the end, and you're going to have a great time. If you go see them again on that same tour cycle, you're going to probably see the same set list.
It's the consumer being too needy.
Yeah.
That's like when I repost a joke sometimes. They're like, some guy, actually, a lot of people, no one ever comments on it, but I did have some guy go, I love your stuff, man, but like, shit, can you like post new stuff? And I'm like, I blocked him immediately, but I'm like, suck my fucking dick, you bitch.
Well, the fact that a fan noticed, was he saying like, you need more stuff, new stuff?
No, he was like complimentary, like, oh, I like this video, I love your stuff, but shit, man, post new stuff. Because it was like, I mean, when I'm busy, I'll take a reel I haven't posted in a while and just repost it.
Oh, really?
Oh, all the time.
I haven't thought about that. I don't have enough to start doing that.
I mean, I know the bangers and I know the ones that are good fillers, and every now and then I'm like, it's kind of lull. I'll fucking post one of the bangers. And I mean, the last couple of times I did that, you can't do it always because people will catch on, but it's like, I mean, you got to think, when I posted it the first time, I had 60,000. Now I have 75,000. 15,000 people probably didn't even see that joke.
They're not going through your old back catalog.
Some do, but they don't as much as you think. You see like them go down like 10. I can see the thing where you like, but
that gives 15,000 new people the opportunity to share it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then it's funny because that joke, that video that kid commented on, actually did very well, and I got, I think, like 3, 4, 5,000 followers from that video because of shares and meme pages. So I'm like, fuck that person. It's like, honestly, you're like, I'm so busy doing a million things. I'm like, you're coming to my page, motherfucker. Like, that's like coming in my house and being like,
you're out of donuts.
What do you fucking paint this wall? This wall was this color last month. You're like, yeah, bitch. Like, I'm not gonna fucking choreograph my shit for you. Which, but anyways, it's still hard to do. I try not to do a lot.
Man, some people let those comments get right in their head.
It's not. I typically, knock on wood, what I do doesn't yield the hater. Like, it's not edgy. I'm like playing coffee and shit. But even when they do say some douchey shit, or even when they try to just be fucking funny and DM me and like say dumb shit, I just block them. I'm like, you know what? I know it's like, you know why? Because whether you leave it, you're like, I'm gonna ignore it. You're not gonna ignore it. You're gonna fucking go back there. You're gonna read it 10 times, and it's gonna bother you.
You're thinking of the best possible retort.
And guess what? Every time I've come with a comeback, like snarky one, enough times I've had people like kind of like defend the person. Yep. And I'm like, hold on, like, what the fuck? So
my standard response is, thanks for watching.
Yeah, dude, I don't even do that anymore because I'm like, what I want to say is fucking, I don't want to say it here because it'll get flagged, but it's like, just like, fuck you, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, honestly, I've written things out before, delete it. I block it because the sooner you block it, the sooner you forget about it, and then you don't care. It's like junk food in your house, where I watched the thing where the guy goes about like how to like people lose weight. It was a TED Talk. He goes, the first step to losing weight is getting rid of the junk food. He goes, I don't care what your willpower is. It's not if you eat it, it's when you eat it. You can have cookies in your shelf. You can say you're not going to not eat them. It's when you eat them. It might be next week, 2 months. It's like you're going to fucking eat them. So you might as well block them and throw them away than even try to entertain the willpower.
Because you tell yourself, oh, I'll eat these slowly over time, but it doesn't matter.
Guess
you shouldn't
what?
be eating
just
that shit.
Throw them away.
Yeah.
So I just block people. But me and Josh Nasser always talk about that. Do you know Josh?
Oh, very well. Yes.
I love Josh, and
Dude,
him and I. It's crazy. He's a guy though. Like me and him, we have the same kind of mentality. It's like we get burnt out, and when you get burnt out, you get kind of like depressed because you're like, I can't come up with ideas. You see the fucking goal going further away. You have to repost stuff. But him and I will confide. We'll talk on the phone, and he's just like, how just people are just like rude, like commenting shit. Like, I've seen this before. No, it's funny though when you repost something and someone goes, "This is your best one yet," and you're like, okay, yeah, like really, was it 6 months ago too? But
that just means they're new and they're enjoying
or
content.
Dude, I've had friends say that where I'm like, motherfucker, you've commented on this before. But
has Josh seen a spike in ticket sales since he went way up?
He I don't know, because he really hasn't, from our conversations, he hasn't like done anything.
I thought he was doing road dates.
He did like a couple like early on, but he hasn't like actively like set up a one nighter here by himself. He did like he did like San Diego Laugh Factory, but he did it with somebody else, and it was kind of like it wasn't even showcased like it was his night, so it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But he has yet to like one night or Thursday, Josh or whatever weekend, but like
Minnesota.
Yeah, he hasn't done that yet, which I keep telling him because he's like, he was getting all annoyed with some of the video stuff, and I'm like, bro, you're at the level. I go, we've talked about this. I go, we do the videos to get to the level to sell tickets. I go, you're at sellout weekend level.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
That's bonus time.
I go, bro, you're almost 1 million Facebook. You're
5 or 6 million on TikTok. 4?
I think it's 3.
Yeah.
YouTube, you're at 800,000. Facebook 300. I go, your weekend. I go, no, you can do, because he's annoyed because like. And I experienced this like with the bonuses on Facebook and the ad money. They're sketchy, bro. Like they'll give you a lot and it all makes sense. And then one day a video, they're like, you only made this. You're like, no, bitch. This has like, I have a video where they're like, it has 200 bonus plays. I go, the video has 170,000 views. Where's the other fucking 68,000 views? So it's annoying. And he's like, I can't stand this shit. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, you can stop with the videos and just start setting up tours and just do that, and then do a video every now and then.
Right.
But it's like, bro, it's going back to the thing like we were talking about earlier. When the videos are making you the money, though, it's like kind of you want to keep fucking. You're like, how far can I push this though? Because I have friends who do Facebook videos and they have the ads on the video, which I just got, and they tell me what they make, and you're like, sometimes I have the thought where I'm like, why don't I just say, do stand up for the next year in LA and just chill and do spots and write like at a rate that works for you, build up the videos, and then you don't have to worry about it. But then you're like, bro, now I'm really offsetting stand up, and I'd rather say, or just do both, or just like podcasts, videos, stand up. But you see like the money and the potential of money that can come in, and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah,
it's weird. I mean, it's not weird. It's like it's easy to get comfortable when money starts coming in.
I mean, it's comfortable, but it's also like, dude, we're fucking doing this full time. Like when I see my spreadsheet of how many months I have left based on the amount of money I have, you're like, I don't want to have to look at this all the time because, it's good for me because it tracks my money. I can project, I can go, okay. And it makes me more of a hustler of like, okay, I want to fill up my October to cover my overhead so I don't have to worry about blah, blah. You do all this shit. But you're like, no, it'd also be nice making fucking $15,000 because of a video on videos on Facebook.
Yeah.
So.
And in Josh's case, he could fly into a new city, rent a car, and do his same thing in a different town.
There is shit like that where I'm like, dude, now you're in a fucking. That's a great idea for him because now it's like, dude, now you're not even in LA. You're like in a fucking. The characters are the people when you pull up to a guy in a cowboy hat and a pickup truck in fucking Iowa.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be Melrose and Santa Monica.
But he's very, I mean, this is what I appreciate about him, but it's a gift and a curse where he's very like, he wants the quality good. Like, he's like, he's got all these cameras. I mean, I don't know if he wants to resort back, but I'm like, bro, the internet doesn't care about quality anymore. They really don't. It does set you apart a little bit, but I honestly, bro, if it's funny, it's funny. Like, they mess with it, So you don't want to be distractingly bad, but I'm sorry. I've seen videos on like YouTube Shorts or even Reels where you're like, it's a podcast clip and everybody's blurry and it's big letters and dude, it's just ADD. Like if it's visually cool, like even my last stand-up video, the quality of the video is a camcorder from like 4 years ago, and I'm like, you know what? If they can hear it and I have big cool font, let it ride, and we'll see.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is crazy. But that, we did a little over an hour.
That's cool.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, that was great.
And I look forward to collabing with you on some stuff.
Bro, I know I want to really kind of vet out. I'm a person, I mean, I'm not just saying that to say yeah, but I do want to maximize. I mean, we're all so busy. I'm trying to think, like, how do I bring on people so it makes the most sense?
Yeah.
Because... like for the videos, my goal is to do videos that are pushing a minute, 2 or 3, whatever. So it's like, do I have people on to help act? I don't mind editing the stuff because I can do it quick. Do I have people on to film it? Do I have people that like? I think the ideas thing is the thing that I need to really relinquish some of my power, even though that's kind of like my little, Schmiegel fucking ring thing, because I'm like, the last thing I want to do is like okay, and then the idea, someone else's idea that we do doesn't do the best, but I'm trying to just be like, how do I get where we get together, we are efficient, we knock out ideas, we get it to a point where it's ready to shoot, and I'm confident going to shooting. Because one thing I've noticed is the ones, and that's why I did the exercise earlier today about scripting out my best ideas. I've filmed so many ideas where in my head I go, this is going to work, there's no way it goes wrong. And then I start filming and I go, how did I not see some of these issues with it? And then I can't do the idea. Yeah. So I want to get to a point where as a team, we're confident that like on paper, these are going to be funny.
Yep.
And then we go into shooting and we're very productive. And I always know from paper to film, it's different. And from film to edit, it's different. And from final product to paper, it's very different.
Yeah.
But if you can minimize all that shit.
And there's little tiny tricks from the film business that I can share with you off air that are just like ways to cover your ass. That's like,
right.
If this doesn't work, we go here. And if that
You're
doesn't
filming
work,
more takes on one versus the other.
Sometimes that's some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to film, but it's like kind of like my writing. I got the idea from like how I looked at stand up for the last couple of years. It's like you've basically riffed for 12 years and you got this far. Let's now do it where it's actually a process that you can save time.
Right.
You can have a product that's almost ready to go on paper, and then when you go to the stage and or camera, you're much more confident rather than really being like, I don't fucking know.
It's less of it. I wonder if this is going to work, and go instead of going like this is going to kill. Like,
or it's like I'm gonna make this work video wise, like because I see what works and what doesn't. I'm like, guess what? I'm gonna fucking do all this shit. But I'm happy to talk more about that. So
awesome. We'll plug everything you got one more time.
At Matty Chymbor, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Check out my podcast on YouTube. I mean, my videos. Share them. Let me know which ones you like.
The Matty Chymbor Show.
If I offended you, Matty Chymbor podcast. If I offended you, I don't give a shit. I'll change it to show. What's it called? Yeah, if I offended you, sorry. I don't really care for me.
If he offended you, he's going to fucking block you anyway.
Yeah,
so.
bitch. Come at me.
Plenty of fish in the sea, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Isaac Abrams Show.